Hello, loves. Welcome to Free Friday Reading Day. I see some of you are already here. Awesome. You can start putting your questions in the chat. I wanted to give a quick shout out to my Emotional Intelligence for the Elements masterclass coming up December 6th. When I had the idea to combine my years of emotional intelligence and fewer years of astrology, I thought it would be fun, and it has been fun, but I was surprised at how helpful it's been. It has really simplified this idea of emotional intelligence, and what I've loved about it the most is that it has made it easier to look at your chart and figure out where do I have capacity to move towards my purpose? What are the emotions I'm going to need? Like and emotions are energy. So what's the energy I'm going to need in order to step into what I want to step into, to heal what I need to heal? It's To me, it's given me I don't know. I've been more empowered in my life because I've started to understand the energies that I needed to work with more versus just focusing on trying to feel better all the time. So, those of you that are here, you could start putting your questions in the chat, or I'll just keep talking about emotional intelligence. um, so, I'm gonna wait on questions. I've grouped the emotions into fire, earth, air, and water, the four elements that astrology uses. And, interestingly, in astrology, they say that if you're having an issue with something, you move towards its opposite. And so I notice in the emotions, it works the same way, like fire and air. Fire is passion, and air is, we would think about more intellect, right? And so I was also thinking in the very human sense that kind of fire goes where air flows. And if you're going to use whether it's passion or anger, any of those positive or negative, but those heat, those moving, those dynamic emotions, if they follow some of the cognitive feeling energies, some of the reflective emotions, then they're going to be much more effective because it's going to be informed fire rather than wildfire. So that's just one example of some of what we're going to talk about in the masterclass, which is only $44. You'll have lifetime access. People, I'm wondering if I'm just not seeing your questions in the chat because I see people are here, but I'm not seeing any questions. So, what you got? Oh, this is top chat, live chat. Let's see. Da, 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 da. All right. Well, what happens when people don't talk as I pull a card? Normally I pull tarot cards, but I just happen to have these cards on my desk. My former business coach, Allison Reeves, .co, she had a heart in the name, and so obviously I went for that. These are mindset cards for her, and I think they're specifically money mindset cards. So I'll pull one of these while you guys get your questions in the chat. We'll do it as an affirmation for today. Oh, I love this. I am the architect of my life and curate and attract what I love. So I will put her website in the chat. That's Allison Reeves. I don't know if those are for sale or not, but I like them. That's why I keep them on my desk. Good morning. So I'm just gonna see. I don't normally pull cards, but I'm just gonna pull a card specifically for you, Barbara, since you're in the chat. Let's see. Oh, haha. I easily release any limiting beliefs that keep me from being rich. It's really interesting. And again, these are money mindset cards, but um, easily release limiting beliefs. Who doesn't need that? So, and again, these are not even tarot cards, but I keep them on my desk because they're good, quick reminders. Okay, I'm going to give you guys about 1 more minute to pop questions in the chat. I'm wondering if you're struggling on your phones or something. And then that will sign off. It's Happy Friday. We got Thanksgiving next week for those of us that celebrate, and my kids are off all week, so I'm going to have quality mom time. All right, this is going to be quick. This is 5 minutes. Barbara, you got a question before we end this thing? I'm going to pull another one of these. I'm going to have to tell Allison that I'm giving her a shout out. I feel grateful that earning more money doesn't depend on working more or working harder. I struggle with that one. So, all right, guys. Well, happy Friday. If you think of questions, leave them in the chat later. Maybe I'll pop back on, and have a great weekend. There you go. To today's meeting between three people, anything they need to know. Yeah. First of all, one of those people really needs to get grounded before they enter the room. I'm wondering if this is you or if this is somebody else. But their power is sort of in their grounding, and when they're out here, it's very expansive, but not in a way that feels attainable, in a way where other people can kind of get lost. So get grounded. There needs to be a very clear agenda. I feel like there's two people thinking one thing and one person thinking another about what the purpose of the meeting is. So make sure there's a clear agenda, a clear goal for the outcomes of the meeting. I feel like there is finances involved in this meeting, financial outcomes that we're looking at. And I feel like there's going to have to be some compromise there for everybody to get what they want, but it is totally possible. It does feel like there's a lot of positive energy around this meeting. Like everybody in the room wants it to be successful and wants things to work out. So, good morning, Martha. Any words of wisdom for being with people with different worldviews? Yes. And I'm tapping into from me specifically, but then more for you as well, for everybody and for you. So one thing is we just have to stay in our body and stay in our breath. A lot of times our emotions get big, whether that's fear or anger or resentment or just like incredulosity. I don't know how you would do that word. Um, it's just staying in our body and breathing. I just love to turn away if you have to, but I learned this for my kids. Dr. Becky Kennedy calls it a straw breath, where you exhale, make your mouth have a little hole like you're sipping through a straw, and exhale as slowly as you can to just. And if you do that, that's going to be a very long, slow exhale, and it's going to be very calming. The other thing that I would focus on is I would get clear about your priorities before you go into the situation of being with them. And is your priority to persuade anybody, or is it to just be in relationship? And if it is to be in relationship, then what you want to focus on is connection. And like, how do I connect with this person in ways that feel good? And to me, it's always anytime I'm in that situation, I'm always balancing. Like, I go back and forth between the judgment that I have for them and the compassion that I have for myself, and then once I can get compassion for myself, then I can get compassion for them. Like, I'm sort of throwing these balls up in the air to try to find that equilibrium, and once you get the hang of the juggle, you can keep juggling, but it's like managing your thoughts about them and your feelings about them. And the thing that's going to serve you the most is just having compassion for yourself and having positive thoughts about yourself, saying, you know what, I chose to be here. I love this person, whatever your goal is. The other thing I would, caveat is sometimes it's not different worldviews so much as it is different world realities because of the way the internet works and our yeah, mostly the way the internet works. We all are being sold a different version of reality. And so you have to kind of hold space that their perception of life and their experience of life is incredibly different from yours. And so to just allow them to just think, yeah, that is probably really true for them. Like having curiosity and then just having a lot of grace of that's not how I see it. That's not how I experience it. But that doesn't mean that it's not true for them. And a lot of times we're talking politics, a lot of times we have judgment about other people, thinking that, their thoughts or their vote or what have you is maybe harming others. Um, I like to hold space that that's not the intention, and maybe it is, in which case I might have a boundary. But a lot of times it's not people's intention. I harm people all the time, and that's not my intention. So just holding space, lots of grace, lots of generosity, lots of self-compassion is the answer. And then my personal thing about the juggling is the more you do it, the more you kind of find your rhythm of how do I work with my thoughts? How do I work with my compassion in order to go? Because I'm not going to not have the judgment, or I'm not going to not have the wound. That's always going to be there. But it's just like, oh, there that is again. Let me do the compassion. There's that wound. Let me do the compassion. Oh, and here's what that person is saying. Can I be curious? Like I'm always sort of bouncing back and forth in those situations in order to kind of manage myself. Okay, so now I'm gonna go to, health of Bill's granddaughter. Ooh, it's not good right now, that's for sure, and I feel like she's walking a tightrope in terms of medication, where, like, either the timing or the dosage is very specific, and they're having to get that figured out. Um, so it feels to me like right now things are worse than they seem just because they're trying to figure out this tightrope of what's happening. I also feel like there's a misdiagnosis here, um, not in a super dramatic, scary way, but like cold versus flu. You're going to have a lot of the same remedies, um, but that may come to light later on. I do have a sense that it's possible that there would be long-term effects, but I don't have a sense that that is 100% the likely outcome. I just have a sense that that's what's possible. In terms of, you didn't ask this, but the guides are always going to take it there. In terms of, what you can do to support the granddaughter, um, well, you'd be great at this, is laughter and joy. All of us can hold her in that vision of divine health and remembering that we're born completely connected to the divine. We're divine beings, and that illness is often an illusion. We can all hold that, but where she would really benefit would be from more laughter and more joy. So finding ways to be a conduit of that, whether that's sending her a silly video, whether that is, I'm not sure the age of this person, but that would be the guidance for the granddaughter. How will our Austin Thanksgiving go? Well, it will be tense, but it will be okay. It feels like everybody is on eggshells, and there's, like, the elephant in the room, and just nobody's gonna talk about it because as soon as we acknowledge the elephant, it's all gonna fall apart. So nobody talk about the elephant, just allow there to be the elephant in the room, allow it to be awkward. It feels like collectively everybody at Thanksgiving would prefer to have the peace, even if it's a shallow peace, than to deal with the elephant. It feels to me like nobody really has the energetic capacity to deal with the elephant right now. Um, so just eggshell it, keep it light, ask light questions. Even the "How are you?" might even be too deep of a question. It just "What's your favorite type of cranberry sauce?" To that sort of a "What's your earliest Thanksgiving memory?" That could be a little bit heated. So keeping it light. Yeah, I do feel like everybody attending, the vast majority, attending wants it to just be peaceful. Can we just get through this without any drama? Like, that's the energy going in, without any upset. And so just know that that's everybody's collective goal, and that you just wanna go in sort of prepared with, how am I gonna keep things light? For me, I have to plan that ahead of time, so prepare yourself to not avoid the elephant, but distract from the elephant, that sort of a thing. So, good luck. I do sense that there's a potential for fun. So I don't know if you guys are like board game players or you like to go on walks or something, but I do sense there is also potential for fun and camaraderie. So I hope that that also plays out. Um, I feel strong yes on the internship. I get like a 90-10 on that. So it's not impossible that she wouldn't get it, but it's not likely. Um, let's see. They have something else about can you in the chat, has she interviewed? Does she need to interview? I feel like there's something they're wanting to tell me about that internship process. The energy that I'm getting without even getting your comment, the energy that I'm getting is that she if she could communicate very clearly what she likes about the job and the organization and why she wants the job, it feels to me like this organization really or whoever it is that's doing the hiring really wants, that enthusiasm, like, they want to hire somebody that's been, bought in. Um, so that would be the advice they give, whether that's and if she has to do a cover letter or an interview or whatever that process is, that having enthusiasm for the organization and the work that they do and the job that she would have, like that's they really want that enthusiasm, whoever it is that's in charge of that decision making. And in general, it feels like that organization, they value that as a culture that everybody's bought in, but specifically whoever's deciding about the job, they want enthusiasm. So that would be the only guidance that they have for her. So wonderful. Thank you all. I hope it was helpful. Happy Friday. Happy early Thanksgiving. Check out the master class. The link is down below somewhere. And yeah, happy holidays, guys. See you soon. I don't know when, not next Friday, but soon.